Hare Krishna. In the previous shlok, Arjun had asked a question to Krishna that what is that force which impels the living entity to do all sinful activities? Krishna said, Arjun, it is lust which forces the person to indulge into all kinds of sinful activities. Now, in today's shlok, Krishna is going to describe the various stages of lust which covers the intellect of the living entity. And I'm very confident that after watching the video, we will all feel that how fortunate we are that we are all human beings. Now first let's recite shlok number 38 of Karma Yoga. धूमेन व्रियते वह्निः यथादर्शो मलेन च यथोल्बेनावृतो गर्भः तथा तेनेद्रमावृताम् धूमेन व्रियते वह्निः यथादर्शो मलेन च यथोल्बेनावृतो गर्भः तथा तेने damavritam. Dhumena, by smoke. Avrite, covered. Vahani, fire. Yatha, just as. Adarsh, mirror. Malena, by dust. Cha, also. Yatha, just as. Ulbena, by the womb. Avritah, is covered. Garbha, embryo. Tatha, so. Tena, by the lust. Idam, this. Avritam, is covered. Krishna is saying, as fire is covered by smoke, as a mirror is covered by dust, or as the embryo is covered by the womb, similarly, the living entity is covered by different degrees of this lust. Dhumena vriyate vahani, as the fire is covered by smoke. Yatha darsho malena cha, as a mirror is covered by dust. Yatholben avrito garbha, as the embryo is covered by womb. Tatha, similarly. Tene damavritam, the living entity, is covered by different degrees of this lust. Now let us read the purport of Srila Prabhupada to have a better understanding of this shlok. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Anant Koti Vaishnavo ki jai. Prabhupada is saying that Krishna has given us three analogies to explain the 3 degrees of lust which covers the consciousness of the living entity. The first analogy is of fire, which is covered by smoke. Prabhupada says that here fire is covered by smoke, but the characteristic of fire can be perceived like the flames and the heat. Though the fire is covered by smoke, but by a little effort of careful fanning, the fire can burn brilliantly again, which is its true nature. In this analogy, the covering on the fire is shallow and it is compared with the human beings. Now, the next analogy that Krishna has given is that of a mirror, which has a thick covering of the dust. Here in this analogy, the mirror is not able to perform its function. The mirror can be seen, but due to the thick dust, the image is not reflected. This is compared with the life of animals and birds. The third analogy is of a embryo, which is covered with the womb. This covering is the thickest as the embryo cannot be seen and it is compared to the life of the trees. Now, these three analogies are in the increasing order of the covering of the consciousness with lust. Now, let us understand it one by one. The first analogy, in which the fire is covered by smoke, is for the human beings. The consciousness of the human beings is of the highest degree. And when the person shows little inclination towards Krishna consciousness, it can be further developed under the able guidance of a spiritual master. Like when the fire is covered by smoke, still one can make out the light and the heat of fire. And by little careful handling, the fire can be put to blaze. So this covering of lust is called the shallow covering. The next stage is of the mirror covered by thick dust. And this stage is compared with the birds and animals who have consciousness, but they cannot develop it into Krishna consciousness. So this covering is deep. And the third analogy is of the embryo, which is covered by the womb, and it is compared to the trees. The consciousness in the trees is of the lowest category, and this covering is the thickest. The embryo cannot be seen and is in a very helpless condition, tightly packed in a dark room, hanging upside down, and is unable to move in that position. And this is compared with the trees because the trees can't even move like birds and animals. So this analogy of the embryo, which is covered by the womb, is for the trees. So these three are the different stages of the covering of the lust. And I'm sure that we all know what is lust. Lust is the desire to enjoy the material things. In the beginning of the video, I said that we will all feel very fortunate by the end of the video. Now let's understand that how we will feel blessed and fortunate. Each one of us have taken endless number of births and have died. Sometimes we were born as human beings, sometimes as birds and animals, and sometimes as trees as well. We all have noticed that there is a covering of lust in human beings, birds and animals, and in trees also. The stage of the covering of lust in human beings is shallow, and human beings can understand the aim of human life, which is not possible in the life of birds, animals, and trees. We get human body after 84 lakhs of species, and it is not meant to be wasted by merely eating, sleeping, producing children, and self-defense, as these activities are done by the birds and animals also. The condition of the trees is the most helpless and pathetic, as they can't even resist when someone throws stones or plucks flowers or fruits or cuts down its branches. In this shloka, Krishna has given us these three analogies to make us feel blessed and fortunate that we have got the most precious, rare human life. And in this human life, we can do Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Athato Brahma Jigyasa means that we must ask ourselves, Who am I? Who is God? And what is my relationship with Him? The knowledge of relationship is very important, without which one can never serve God. We are blessed to be born in Kali Yuga. And in Kali Yuga, the only process of God realization which has been prescribed for us is mentioned by Tulsi Dasi. कलयुग केवल नाम आधारा सुमिर सुमिर नर उतर ही पारा. And the same thing has been prescribed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself and has appeared as the devotee of Krishna, having the love of Srimati Radharani in his heart. Harir Nam, Harir Nam, Harir Nam, Eva Kevalam, Kalau Nastiv, 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 Gatir Anyatha. It means that one has to chant the name of Lord Hari, and there is no other way of getting out of the endless cycle of birth and death in this material world. Now, I am sure that each one of us are feeling blessed and fortunate that we have a human form of life. And doing Hare Krishna Mahamantra is so easy. And by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, our consciousness, which is covered by the lust of enjoying this material world, will be gradually purified, and we will regain our original consciousness that we are eternal servants of Krishna, as we are his part and parcel. And being his part and parcel, it's our duty to serve him. Like the entire body serves stomach, and when the stomach is happy, the entire body is happy and healthy. Now in the next shlok, Krishna is going to give more details about this greatest enemy of humans, which is lust. It's a very interesting topic, and when we attentively listen to Krishna, then we get to know ourselves better and better. And this is known as spiritual realization or self-realization. And it is possible only in the human life and in no other species. I thank each one of you for attentively listening to the shlokas of Bhagwat Gita, and I thank our dearest Guru, Srila Prabhupada, for making us understand the most secretive knowledge of Bhagavad Gita in the most simple language. Let us make a promise to ourselves that we will utilize this rare human life for self-realization and inspire others also, as this is the highest form of showing love and compassion to the entire creation. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has instructed us to do Nagar Sankirtan so that the birds, animals and trees can also liberate from their existing species. Nagar Sankirtan means chanting and singing the Hare Krishna Mahamantra very loudly. Mahaprabhu says that the birds, animals and trees cannot chant, but they can listen, and merely by listening they will be liberated. So let's all chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and do good to everyone, including the birds, animals and trees. Hare Krishna, and always be happy. Jai Srila Prabhupada.